Get ready for another episode of Will They Make Good Movies or Television Shows Out of These Comics? And coming from a producer from Hollywood and an award-winning screenwriter, me, Frank Zanca. Check it out right now. Okay, we're back to talk about the releases of comics that I've read and if they make good movies and television shows. As you know, they're pulling a lot of stuff from comics nowadays and putting them on Netflix and Disney, etc. And these will be Marvel and DC books as well as independents. And, there's a lot of independent books that have come out through comics that nobody even realized they were comics. So I'm a 20-year veteran in the film and television industry from Hollywood, and now I've just moved to Atlanta, which they're doing more production here, but not right now because of the strikes. So I'm able to get some more videos done to catch up since my travel across the country. So we're going to start with Night Terrors Shazam #2. And so this whole Night Terrors thing, I have not been following, but I know it's about the Nightmare Stone. It's hidden in one of the heroes' nightmares. So this villain has to go in there, and all the heroes are experiencing, these basically night terrors, except this one's with a K. And you would think they released this in October, but it's a 2-month span across all of DC, which is a really bad move. But anyway, so this is Shazam. This is Mary Marvel. This is her going into, she's having her own issues in her dreams because she's fighting Billy Batson, who is actually Shazam, but he looks like Black Adam. So they're fighting, and then she goes into each of her, and if you've seen the Shazam movies, you know that they're at orphans, and so they're in a house with a whole bunch of other orphans. And so she goes into her brothers and sisters' dreams and helps them out by saying Shazam! And, then they get exactly what they need the powers to do. And they vanquish whatever creature that they're fighting in their dreams. And then she starts fighting Billy as Black Adam. And then all the siblings show up and help her fight. And they win the day. Or the night. Or whatever. So, the artwork in here is okay. It's nothing great. It's a little stylized and a little cartoony, but it was okay. And the fight scenes are all right, but there's no weight to any of them. Here's some of the other characters that you might have seen from the movie, etc. So, it was okay. Nothing major. Some of the color, I kind of like that where, he basically hits her through the whole splash page into everybody else's dreams. It's, the book itself was not that great, even though it's written by Mark Waid. And would it make a good television show or everything? No. Because it has to go along with all of the Night Terror stuff, and every review of Night Terrors in general has not been good. So, no, it's just, even if this was the best thing in the world, it wouldn't fit into the rest of the storyline. So it would definitely not make a good film or television show. I'm going to pass on that one. So hopefully this Night Terror stuff will be gone soon. Then we have Teen Titans, also from Mark Waid, which makes no sense because this is out of continuity, so it's not Night Terrors. And yet, we still have a haunted house. What the hell? So this is World's Finest Teen Titans, so they're all younger in here. So this is, Wally and Donna Troy and Dick, etc. But they go into this haunted house, and they all have nightmares. My God! So it's literally got like the Scooby-Doo kind of look to it, where they're, going through this haunted house and experiencing, their own their own. So she's on Themyscira there, saying, telling her that she's not good enough. So all of their insecurities are coming out, and Speedy's fighting some creatures that can swat things out of the thing, and I guess this girl is causing all of it. And why are the? I mean, without Raven, it makes no sense that the Teen Titans are fighting supernatural creatures, and everything gets kind of sealed up with a bow, and everybody says bye bye, thanks for coming. Yeah, sorry I was kidding you. Bye. What the fuck? I can't believe Mark Waid wrote this, because this is and even at the end they're like, yeah, cool, look at my fur. My fur's cool. Whatever. Yeah, no. No, sorry. 2 Mark Waid books in a row. Not making it to the screen anytime soon. All right, then we're going to move on to the Avengers. As you know, the Avengers did make a good movie. But now did the updated stuff, all of the new storylines, how are they doing, and would they be translated into good film and television? Let's see. So this was the continuation of all of these city gods that are coming out and wreaking havoc with the cities. So they have some kind of mothership. And instead of sending Captain Marvel, who's leading this thing, who can fly in space, or Thor, who could also fly in space, and probably both of them can probably destroy the ship without bombs, just with their powers. No, instead they send Falcon Cap, which is Falcon with the Captain America shield. And I just cannot stop getting emails. My phone sounds like R2-D2 all day long. It's crazy. So they send them into space. Black Panther and Falcon Cap. The 2 street level characters. Why? They have 2 godlike creatures, characters that can do a lot more damage in space and don't have to worry about being stuck up there. But yet they send the street level guys up there to destroy the ship, and if they don't get out, I think Wanda has created a portal for them or whatever. If they don't get out, guess what? They're dead. I don't understand that. I didn't understand that in the last one, and there's no description or explanation of why that happened in this one. So anyway, they're going through this thing, and then Thor is fighting this stupid looking owl thing, and it's all just one. The whole comic is just one big battle. Not that the fights aren't cool. It's good to see Thor kicking some booty, although he doesn't, because he gets his butt kicked also. It's also good to see Wanda. So you have Wanda and Iron Man running around fighting their matchups for their villains. But again, the art is really good. Jed McKay wrote it. Although I don't, the artwork's decent, but there's Thor getting his butt kicked. And then Wanda gets her butt kicked. So, there's Wanda getting her butt kicked over here. And I don't know. Iron Man's not doing too well. He's stuck in a thing. Hey, man, I'm just ahead. Can I get out? The answer is literally no. So, and guess what? Falcon Cap and Black Panther are stuck on the ship. So, what? I'm really frustrated with this book. I know a lot of people like this book, but I'm frustrated with it. Will it make a good movie or television show? No. No, sir. No, there's a lot of no's in this one. There's a lot of no's in this one. Marvel and DC, I don't know what they're doing recently. Plus, they're raising the prices. I just read Darth Vader at 20 pages, and it's $5. What are you guys doing? The independents who are selling less books are cheaper than the guys that are selling more books. It doesn't make any sense. And so now we're into a Red Goblin. So this is Norman Osborn's grandkid, whose name is Normie, who has a symbiote like Venom, and the symbiote's name is Rascal. So we have all these Green Goblin. I don't know if they're Green Goblin, but they're Goblin like a street gang in the sewer. Okay, they're all following this other Goblin character who's basically dead, but he's decaying. I don't know how he's alive, but he's like an undead guy. But he's like, I don't know if he's healing or deteriorating or doing both at the same time. But he's decided that he was going to give the Hobgoblin armor or whatever, something like to his right-hand girl. And then he decides that he doesn't need her anymore. So he sends Crossbones out to go and wipe her out. Meanwhile, Normie is fighting Miles Morales, which is Spider-Man, the other version of Spider-Man. So it's like a story that goes back and forth to the sewer and to the fights. The fight with Miles Morales, and the artwork is pretty good. And there's him hanging with Miles, literally hanging with Miles Morales. Hey, I'm hanging by my hand. You're hanging by your web. It's all good. Let's just hang. And then we switch back to the sewer, which the right-hand girl over here, and she swipes his pen, but the pen was given to him by Tony Stark, and so he has some kind of a attachment to it. And then Crossbone shows up, wanting to kick some booty, and then we switch back and forth to the fight with Miles Morales. So, and Norman cannot control this symbiote. But then Miles uses his little zap thing on the ground and realizes that when now the symbiote kind of receded back into Normie, that it's just a kid. And he's like, oh my god, I just killed a kid. Oh, you're not dead. So meanwhile, we have the battle in the sewer, and Crossbones literally puts a knife in the guy's neck. And the girl and Normie wound Crossbones enough to try to get away. So he uses the pen to stab him in the back of the neck. And then they bury him up. So of course he's not dead. And then we switch back to him with Miles, and Miles is like, "Look, let me handle this, and we'll take you to see Reed Richards to see if we can't get the symbiote out of you." And he's like, "Okay," and then they take off. Of course, if they do that, then of course the book's over. So we'll make a good movie or television show. I really like this character. The fact that it's a younger character might be able to bring in younger readers, kind of like Miles Morales did, and having him and Miles Morales together. Obviously, Into the Spider-Verse did really well. The second movie is pushed back now. So yeah, this character could possibly pop up even in the Miles Morales movies, and if they do a live action version, which they probably could do, and bring in younger audience for Marvel, kind of like what they did with the Avengers and things like that. Yeah, I don't know if this particular story, although the story's not bad, but it's kind of a little. They'd have to really condense it because right now it's kind of all over the place. But yeah, I think this would make a good movie. I go see it. So it's kind of like a kid version of Venom with Spider-Man in it. I mean, that's a home run right there. All right, Moon Knight, City of the Dead. As you know, Moon Knight was a television show on Disney Plus, and it was very boring and very confusing and whatever. But now we get to see Layla in this, as you see in the cover, who appeared at the end of the television show on Disney Plus. And I'm a fan of that character, and I'm a fan of the actress that actually played her. She was really good. And I've read this twice now, and I still can't remember it. So this is just not a memorable book. So it's unfortunate because I really was looking forward to it, but it's just not memorable. So this is about Moon Knight. He goes into literally in the City of Dead because one of his friends, who's a kid, I don't know if he's a teenager, gets hurt in the streets by these gang of Anubis. So kind of like they have the Goblin gang, here they have the Anubis gang, and they're all wearing Anubis type of masks. So the kid's almost dead, so he takes the kid to Hunter's Moon, which is this other version of Moon Knight, who's a fist of Khonshu as well. And he says, fix him up, and he's like, well, he's dying, and he's like, well, I'm just going to go to the City of Dead then, and I'm going to get him back. And then we have a big battle in the City of Dead. Again, it's a pretty thick book. But, here's what these guys look like. So they're literally wearing Anubis masks. And Moon Knight comes in. So the artwork's decent. I mean, that's a pretty good action shot. And he beats them all off. I probably should have said it that way. And so he's in that little thing, and Hunter's Moon's like, I really can't help the kid, man. So that's when he decides that he's going to go into the City of Dead, which has a whole bunch of Egyptian theme to it, etc. And then we just have a whole bunch of battles. He's fighting, a bunch of different monsters, that are like based on Egyptian gods. Because the Egyptian gods had all like animal type of themes to them. And, he's fighting, because Anubis was a dog, so there we have a little bit of that. And then this is where I get confused. There's I don't know if this is a flashback or whatever, but they have literally an airship come and drop bombs. Okay. So I'm not sure about that one. And then he's fighting, and then one of them gets hit in the head by something, and he turns around and says, Layla, is that you? And I do not like that splash page art. I think her face is drawn very badly. I don't think her pose is done well or anything like that, especially not when you compare it to the cover, and the eyes are too far apart and whatever else. And then they're all standing against all of these monsters. And the guys that I guess he killed are there as well. So that's why they have the Anubis masks on, because he killed them in the alley. And then they popped up in the City of Dead, and they're fighting against them. So, will it make a good film or television show? No. No. As much as I like the characters and stuff like that, they're street level. This is the problem that the TV show made too. They're street level characters. These are guys that are fighting guys on the street. It's just like Daredevil, they do not need to be going, even though Moon Knight is more based on the immortal thing of him going to different, into, he's a lot to do. He's tied into death for the most part. So, no, I don't think that it would work because, again, you need to have that more grounded in the street level stuff. With him fighting street-level characters, fighting other characters that are on the same level as him, going into supernatural just doesn't really work for it. And I think that's, what the end result was of the TV show that just kind of going off the rails too. So anyway, we'll move on, but I'm going to get the second issue, but we'll see what happens with it. I'm not that thrilled with it. I was hoping for more. All right, so then we'll go on to Avengers. This is a facsimile edition of Avengers #1 from 1963. Okay, so this is the first appearance of basically these characters together. And so we have Ant-Man and Wasp, Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man in his original gold costume. gold armor. He doesn't have the updated armor until way later. I think it was the 70s. And so we're fighting against Loki. So Loki has obviously been around since the 60s as well. This one here is Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So you can't get better creators. However, the artwork in here is great, especially seeing the thing. But, it's very, very, very text heavy. But that's Stan Lee for you. This is back when Thor had a secret identity of Donald Blake. It even shows you the ads from the 60s. So I thought that's pretty cool. So it does take you back. But yeah, so Iron Man that's why they used to call him Shellhead, because he literally looks like a bullet shell. But there's Fantastic Four up on top. So it's neat seeing some of this stuff, but overall, this story is not a good story. So what it is Loki has been exiled into an island in Asgard. And he wants to fight Thor. But he doesn't know how to get Thor there without manipulating something. So he manipulates the Hulk to destroy a bridge. So he as he's bounding, jumping, he basically hits him with something, and he falls onto these tracks where he destroys the tracks as a train is coming. But we can't have Hulk really do that, so he literally comes in, kind of Superman-ish, and uses his body to have the train go by. But meanwhile, it makes national news because they say, "Oh, he destroyed the train tracks. It just was a miracle, that the train survived, etc." But then they get kind of silly with it. I don't know what Stan Lee was thinking. They make Hulk go to a circus because they're looking for him, so they have to find him. And then they realize, or at least Thor realizes, that he's been manipulated by Loki. So Iron Man and Hulk fight. Ant-Man and Wasp are trying to figure out another way, and Thor goes to Odin and has him transport him to where Loki is so that he and Loki can fight. And Loki thought that he had him one-upped on him on the entire thing, but didn't. And, he has this. That's one good thing that Jack Kirby had. He had ideas for really weird monsters. Look at that thing. That thing's pretty weird looking. He has that come out of the ground. They're like little trolls. And stuff like that. And meanwhile, we have continue the battle with Hulk and Iron Man. And so, of course, Thor beats Loki and takes him off the exile island, which makes no sense. And meanwhile, we complete the battle with Thor and Iron Man by Thor showing up. And then they say, "Oh yeah, all is forgiven. We're going to build the Avengers team and we're all going to be part of it. Yay." But Hulk doesn't speak like he does as he does now, where he talks about himself in third person, and he's a little bit more intelligent here than he is in the movies and the future comics. But would this make a good television show? No. No movie, no television show. This is not a good story. Unfortunately, I was pretty disappointed with it. But, some of the action, it does bring you back and stuff like that, but it's not intriguing enough. This was just made just to bring all the characters together. I don't think that Stan Lee had a bigger plan at that point. So not till much later on do we have, more encompassing story than this little one-shot of Hulk being the bad guy, and Loki kind of pulling the strings. Of course, we have elements of that kind of throughout Avengers history, but this particular story is just, it wouldn't translate well to the screen. All right, then we're going into our last two. So we have Barnstormers. So this is Greg thought it was Greg Scott Snyder. Sorry, Scott Snyder. So this book is actually pretty good. It's very thick. That's the thing. I got an independent Dark Horse book for $4.99. Meanwhile, and look how thick this is. So this is, this is basically 2 issues in one. Meanwhile, Marvel's charging $4.99 for half of this. But this story is about Bix, who he's kind of has PTSD. He sees this electric robot character in his head every once in a while. And he's looking for money, so he was doing some acrobatic stuff with his plane and charging people to see it, except one day he gets a little hint to go to this other town, and where people will pay them or pay him to see him do his tricks, and boom, he accidentally ruined somebody's wedding. And it was an exclusive wedding. And so the guy was kind of being a dick to him, but it's understandable in this case because he ruined his wedding. But we find out later that the wife or the bride was not wanting to have the marriage. It was almost like an arranged marriage, and she's sitting on the wing waiting for him so that he can take her away. So they do, and they continue on where she starts doing the acrobatic stuff on the wing. But she doesn't feel comfortable enough. She's scared, so she won't go all the way out on the end of the wing, and which is totally understandable, especially in what the 30s, 40s, or whatever this takes place, where there was no safety, so understandable. But anyway, as the story progresses, they have more of a relationship, and they realize that they can do different things with the money. Because they in all these towns, they run into people that are, especially children, that are very poor and don't eat and stuff like that. So they start giving the money that they make to the poor. So it's almost like Robin Hood. But then they need money for themselves, so they start stealing from the rich. So so they start going into houses and stealing that and getting back to the plane and leaving. Although that'd be very loud. So they basically have an escape plan as long as nobody can catch them once they're in the plane. So, and there was no heavy Air Force at that time that could stop them. So so that's basically the storyline, except that the fiance has been looking for them, and he's kind of an abusive guy, but very well off. So he hooks up with this the police detective they have to search now that they're actually committing crimes. They're actually getting closer to finding them. And then as the point where the police detective is ready to give up, they actually spy them, and there's a chase ensues, and then there's a fire. So the guy's shooting at them in this house, and he actually burns down the house with him shooting at them. And then there's some people that die in the fire. And instead of him taking blame for it, he blames it on them. So all across the media, it's saying that they're the murderers, blah, blah, blah. And each one of them wants to give up for the other. So Bix says, I'm gonna give up. And Tilly says, no, and hits him in the head with a rock. So he knocks him out, and she goes and gives herself up, saying, look, leave him alone. I will marry you. And they're driving around, and he's just being, with the police detective driving, and they're in the back seat, and he's being abusive to her again. And the police detective is realizing this. And then they hear the plane. The plane knocks the car over, and the artwork's really, really good in this, and it's kind of got that hazy type of 30s type of movie film look. And we got a lot of romance in here and stuff like that. So it's a good story, and I do like a period piece, And here's him shooting up everything, and then barely escaping. And at the end, she gets out on the wing, of course, because that's the arc for her. And the guy just looks like a complete dick. But yeah, I mean, the artwork basically looks like a romance novel. And so, I mean, women would actually go for this too, I would think. But yeah, here's where they decide that, they have to, one has to give up for the other, because it's just not going to end. But no, she hits him in the head with a rock. And then he sees that monster thing, which is only in his head. And yeah, here's him being abusive to her in the car. And again, he pushes the car over with the plane. And a fight ensues with him and the fiance. And here's where the twist is. Again, he sees the monster, and she shoots him. So from them being not so murderous, she is now a murderer, and then the police detective has to decide what to do, because they escape in the plane again with the dead body there. And what's the police detective going to do? I don't know. That is where it is the clincher for the next episode. So will that make a good movie? Actually, yes. This is actually a really good story. I don't know if it's. Let's see how the ending is. See if it's epic enough for an actual movie. But I would watch this. I think they would have to add some more stuff to it. But because right now it's a very small story. It's only going to be 3 issues, but it's a very small story. So they would have to add more to it. But overall, having the plane stuff, almost I forgot that movie, the romance movie where you don't know who the Notebook has, like a little bit of a Notebook type of triangle going on, love triangle, etc. So yeah, I think they would have to add some more to it, but overall, I think so. And then we're going to go into a Kickstarter book. This is Cyberfrog, A Wrecked Planet by EVS, which is Even Van Scriber. He wrote it and did the art. And the art is off the chain, man. I mean, the art is extremely detailed. Extremely. This must have taken him forever. And people were saying, "Oh, is it coming out yet?" So I don't know if the Cyberfrog is I think it's an alien. So there are other alien bugs. So it's a post-apocalyptic. So think Walking Dead. So think Walking Dead, and there's bugs. So it's a little bit like Quiet Place, but they wear red because the other bugs can't see red for whatever. It hides the movement, kind of like Predator, where they don't see the heat type of thing. But here it's red. So they hide themselves that way when they go out into the woods and things like that. But if they get stung, they explode, like humans will explode. So whatever the stinger is. So there's like no help them. It doesn't take them long to explode either. And that's what was going on with that one guy that I just showed in that picture. So we have Heather and Lily, which are the mother and daughter. And initially, so there's that picture again where the guy, it's over here. Oops, wrong one. Over here, he got stung, and look at his face, and then he just explodes. So, but again, the artwork is just, look at all the people there, and they're very detailed. But anyway, Lily doesn't like Cyberfrog. She's afraid of him. But we have a big arc in this thing, because this thing is very, very thick. There's probably 70-something pages in here, maybe a little less, but it's at least 60 pages. And so Cyberfrog they go to this, so again, it's kind of like Walking Dead. They go to this community, and the leader of that community doesn't trust him and would rather him not be there. But he does understand that Cyberfrog could, in fact, when he sees him first, he shoots him. So apparently the Cyberfrog can heal pretty well because, but he does have a little bout with the guy. Yeah, just look out. Look at that. And then by everything having to be in red, it's the art and colors stick out. But anyway, so we have more of these problems with everything that's going on. Here's one of the villain bugs there. But we do have a arc because Lily does feel more comfortable with him at the end, where she's playing with him and she constantly wants him around, and they're playing chess together, they're playing soccer, all this stuff. So we get this cute little arc with Lily, but then I guess she's tricked into thinking that her dad needs her, so she goes in to help her dad. So she basically runs away. Take a look at that. That is pretty cool. So she goes into the woods to go to find her father, and Heather's she leaves a note, and Heather is just beside herself. She's like, "What the hell, dude?" And the one big haired bitch there says, "I did you a favor." She's like, "I'm going to kill you." So I guess she got trying to talk her into it, and Frog tries to help her because he does find her in the woods, and he uses his tongue to try to lasso. Because there you go, yeah, Lily's in bad shape there. But see on the bottom here, they cut his tongue off. Ouch. So it kind of ends in a cliffhanger here. The Frog is completely wounded. We have another villain in there. But yeah, look, the artwork's just off the chain, man. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I was going to like this or not. But he's kind of built like a little empire for himself. He does like figures and things to that effect. So yeah, overall I liked it, and it's definitely different. It's definitely got that stuff like Walking Dead and Quiet Place and things like that. Except we have this slowly a Cyberfrog walking around. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Will it be a good movie to tell? I don't think so. Mostly because it would be very expensive to do. I don't know how because Cyberfrog's in most of the stuff. You'd have this animated character basically all throughout the entire thing, which I guess they did with Jar Jar Binks and things to that effect. But I just don't know. It would because it's more on a day in the life of, which I guess they did with Walking Dead, and they made it work. So yeah, maybe if they were able to get the budget to do the Cyberfrog itself, it might be fun, because we do have all these grounded human characters in it to give it that so it's not too off the wall. But maybe if I want to see what the rest of the arc is, and I didn't get the first one, so I don't know the origin story of it. So I'm going to put that in a maybe column depending on what the story arc is, what the actual story is, and is there a villain that has a beginning, middle, and end? Because I didn't see anything personal with the villains, with Cyberfrog or with the humans. So that's another issue, as I didn't see anything personally connecting anything. But of course, we didn't have that with Quiet Place either. But I think that would be stronger, especially when the villains can emote and things to that effect, where it's not just a shadow. I think that at Quiet Place, we had them trying to get over, the death of their child and having another child at the same time. That's why Quiet Place 1 worked so well. Quiet Place 2 didn't work as well, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so that's all I got. That's the end of the episode here. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. I did just get monetized, so make sure to watch my videos all the way through and help me make it so that I can start doing more and more of these. All right, and I have my own products as well. As you know, I have if this is your first time watching my channel, I am a writer as well. This is my new fantasy novel, Tales of Ravendor, the Iron Witch, which just came out recently. And then I have my own comic called Lords of LA. This is issue 1. This is available. And issue 2 is going to go up on Kickstarter very, very shortly. That's the next thing I'm working on. And that's it. Thank you very much again for watching and supporting my channel. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye-bye.